Good morning, everybody. This is Chief O, here in Maryland and here in America, here in the world, the only world we have. I greet everybody who's with Zelenka, waiting for Sister Eartha, and waiting for Brother Davis to join us as well. We have an extra clip for you. Today we have really something that we need to see how we can resolve some of these problems. But the first thing that you have to do again is to let's talk about it. It's going to be a hot day. Hot day. Carry your water with you, please. Don't dehydrate out there. I think it's going to be 97 degrees. I mean, that's cooking somebody. So please carry your water. Don't dehydrate. Drink your water. Now, today is mask day off. Some people are not going to take it off, no matter what the governor says, or no matter what Fauci says, no matter what anybody says. They're going to keep on it, wearing it until they are personally comfortable from wearing it. And that's fine. That's what freedom is about, personal freedom. And then, again, today's hot day. The issue that right underneath this, you can see a number. We're upgrading a lot of things. If you want to call in, call 667-298-3433, or you can email me. Again, it's 667-298-3433. If you want to call in and ask a question, we're open for you. So we've been talking about reparation. And right now, an up-to-date information on reparation. California is the only state in the country that has put together a commission, that has put a group of people together and formed a commission and are talking about HR 40 and are talking about reparation. They are the only state. So it's kind of moving slowly. The HR 40 is moving very slowly, but it's out there. And we just have to wait. It would be nice to see Baltimore have one. Of all states, of all in the country, Baltimore should, and maybe put Zelenka on top of it and say, let her be the commission, the chairperson for that reparation commission. Who knows? After all, here she is. She's a lawyer. She's a candidate for mayor. So you might as well pay attention. One of these days, this is your mayor, looking a whole lot different. Very, very different looks. You know how ladies are. On Monday they look good. On Tuesday they look better. On Wednesday they look even better. And then by Thursday you don't know who they are. So, Zelenka, good morning. Welcome.
Good morning, my. Thanks for the compliment.
It's good to see you. And we've had about a week off, and it's been kind of heavy, rain. Sometimes we've had earthquakes in Maryland.
Yeah.
Big rains. So it's a place that anyway, it's just weather-wise, it's changing an awful lot. And as we go down the line in this process of let's talk about it, we're probably going to bring somebody in to do a weather report, a 2-minute weather report for us, so we can see, keep people up to date. And then we're probably going to be bringing in some news clips for somebody to just tell some of the issues that are going on in different parts of. Giovanni has a little message for me, and it just disappeared. Anyway, wonder what he had. Send it back. Who can we say is Black people's worst enemies? We believe that there are some people that are our enemies, because we could not possibly have all the deterioration of infrastructure, education, family units, just destroying the family, the whole uh, community. So somebody's doing this to us. And we need to really talk about who are our worst enemies. Every,
Um, that's
every
a good question. And guess what? I may say something shocking, but I think our worstest enemy is us.
well, we will be talking about that. Zelinka, there's a clear pastor that has a message about. Let's talk about our enemies
Hmm.
within, and that's basically our show for today. Our enemies within. Um, my dear brother, I really would like to see Brother Davis here, but I hope he said he would be here. So we'll see what happens. Um, oh, yeah, I think he is. Oh, is that? Let me just hold tight a second, see who is coming in, who's coming in. Again, you can call in at 667-298-3433 or email me. Let's talk with Chief O at gmail.com. And there's that button that I think it's supposed to be somewhere on this. Push that subscribe button because we're reaching for 100,000 viewers, and the viewer numbers are going very well. So whatever happened, I guess he'll be coming back and he can catch up with us. But I want to give the producer a little time to go ahead and bring out the pastor. Um, you're gonna like this, Zelenka. You have to hear him and what he's talking about, which is the enemy within.
Look at our traditional leaders and the slave trade. We blame the whites for the slave trade we went through. We blame the whites that they offended us. They took us as slaves. But let's wait for a minute. Who sold the black man to the whites? Who sold the black man to the whites? Our own traditional leaders. The enemy is not outside. The enemy is within. If we are asking the Europeans to pacify us and also to apologize to us, our traditional leaders must be the first to apologize on behalf of their ancestors for the evil they have done against their fellow blacks.
Good morning. Okay. All right. I think maybe that clip is played. Good morning, my dog, my beautiful, handsome, just a icon of today, a living icon, my brother Davis. Good morning to you. Can you hear me well? Good morning, brother Davis. We can see you. Welcome back. Brother Davis, can you hear me? Brother Davis, hello. Wave, can you hear
Hey,
me?
how you doing?
Oh, you're here. I can hear you.
Good night.
Good morning. Welcome back. We're working on it. We're working on it. It's all technology.
Faded away.
667-298-3433. Okay, he's gonna go ahead and fix it up, so we'll bring you in correctly. Um, the day is flag a takeoff to Mass Day for some people. I'm into oh, thank you, dear. I need another sugar. Oh. My wife is leaving. Bye, honey. Zelenka, you didn't know I was married for 50 years, did you?
Wow, that's beautiful. Yeah, I didn't know how long you had been married.
50,
That's a beautiful thing. 50 years.
October 22nd will make it 51 years.
Wow. That's such a blessing. And it saddens my heart. That's like my parents were married for 63 years before they passed away 2 months apart.
Mm.
And they shared just, they were like as one for real, and a lot of times we don't see so much of that in America anymore. So it's always so beautiful when I hear people who have been married for over a half a century. That's a wonderful thing.
And now, it kind of falls into what we're talking about now. People that get married today for a year, 6 months, and then they break up, divorce, and put the children in a state of being that is not good for any child. Uh, yeah, who do we blame for that? Who do we blame for that? And that's one of the things that pastor is talking. Blame white people for slavery. But who sold black people into slavery? Blacks.
All right.
In our case, on this side, who's selling black people away? Politicians. So we're blaming them. Who else can we blame for all the atrocity and all the problems that we're having? Who can we blame? We have to blame ourselves. As you said, Brother Davis is coming. Is coming back, or is it Eartha? Oh, there's Brother Davis. Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you wave? Brother Davis, can you see me?
Good morning.
Hey, there you are. I heard the voice.
Yes.
Welcome back. How was your vacation?
I can see you. I got a blank for me, but I can see you.
Okay, you broke up, so I'm not sure if you're still together or if you're broken up. But we'll keep going until you can come in clearly. We were talking about the enemies within, sir. That's what the topic of this morning. Whom can we blame? Who is our enemies within? Who is destroying our cities, our communities, our families? Who can we blame? That's the subject matter that we're talking about. And I like to get Zelenka back into this because she's getting ready to make a move. I can feel her getting ready to shit.
I was thinking this morning, as I thought about that topic, that subject matter. And that's why I invited who I invited as well, because I've been all over Baltimore City since I've been here for 9 years. I've worked with so many, literally over 1,000, literally. When I look around, you have to look at from the bottom to the top. Okay, a lot of people say, well, you need to look from the top to the bottom. But really, you need to look from the bottom to the top. When we talk about family in Baltimore, there are so many young babies having babies. There's during the 80s and 90s when it was the war on drugs, so many people got caught up with the crack cocaine in the harbor. We're at a major harbor. Drugs come into the city, and I think it was by design because the way the city is structured. So we can go from the bottom to the top, but right now it's from the top that needs to be cleaned up in Baltimore City. The second thing is the reason why I say from the top right now in this time period is because we have city officials that are not loving the people enough, that are not recognizing that the people are their city's commodity, where they won't invest into the people. If you look at how many dollars Baltimore spends annually just feeding people, but have they ever got with the ministers, faith-based, and said, and grassroots organizations on the ground of this city, and said, to educate, we need to put money into your organization so you can educate in this block, in that block, in this district, block by block by block, so that we can educate our young people, we can educate our returning citizens, we can educate our single parents, okay, and how they need to be up raising their children. Which some parts of the city, I would say on Penn Street and North, that whole area. Well, that whole area is Pan America, Africa, and people during election season ask this question: well, why are blacks keep voting the same people in office, the same Democratic Party? There's no diversity. Well, first of all, I can tell you that about 70% of them don't even vote. I had them to come to me, and I had a young woman to come to me the other day after we did the panel forum on Saturday, and said, "This thing is full. You know, you get to keep going." But I got to tell you, coming up in my home, they never even talked about voting. They never even talked about voting. So I have no idea what the Republican Party is about, what independent is about, or Democrat. That this is a 40-year-old, 40
Yeah,
plus.
sure.
So if they don't know, how are they going to pass that on to even their children?
Right. I mean, when I was doing voter registration, that's exactly some of the words, some of the things. What's the Republican Party about? And yet, you know, because they really wanted to make some changes in terms of who they voted for or who they're going to vote for, but they cannot understand the Republican Party or its principle or its theories. I said to the Republican Party, Maryland, you guys are not doing a good enough job. You just go out there and throw people out and don't even care whether that the people that you're trying to get to elect them or vote for them know anything about them. Not only not know anything about them, know anything about the party. So the Democrats, they got people already putting out posters as of right now. What is his name? Panchotti. You know, they already put out their little sticks on the ground with their name on it, campaigning for governor for 2022 as 2023. Now, yeah, the primary 2022. So they're doing it.
So how are we hurting ourselves here? We're hurting ourselves in Baltimore due to lack of education, even in the homes. Lack of education, lack of rearing our children with godly principles. We took the Pledge of Allegiance out of our school system. We took all of that out. Why? Because basically liberals
Well,
did not want prayer in the school. I mean, think about it. Think about how that started. Think about how instrumental music, art, prayer, all of that was weeded out of our public school system. It was because black leaders in each city decided, oh, we're going to cut the budget by $10 million this year because these are things that we don't need in our school. They could get those doing after school programs.
Zulinka, you said something foundation that things you really started is the national anthem that was taken out of the school system. Black people by it, don't want to use it, or say, can you see? And I guess we can't see. You know, what do you think about that, brother?
Well, let me chime in here. You know, much of what you all have said is kind of on point. I always use term, you know, our problem is basically ignorance, because we're no longer black people, you know. And let me explain what I mean by that. You know, I come out of a segregated system, you know, and we had our own educational system. And that educational system was geared toward us, you know, and what our needs were. Once we integrated our educational system, then things kind of went awry. We ended up with a diffuse culture. For instance, things that they allowed in an integrated setting, they would never allow in a black setting, because discipline was a very important issue within our community. All of us were disciplined. This is why we were able to handle mathematics and other difficult subjects during that particular time, because we were disciplined. And math requires discipline. For instance, another example, Frederick Douglass puts it this way: our destiny is largely in our own hands. If we find, we shall have to seek. If we succeed in the race of life, it must be by our own exertions and energies. Others may clear the road, but we must go forward or be left behind in the race of life. Somewhere along the line, stop being that particular black person. And that is where our problem is.
So that's where the enemy is. The enemy is within.
Yeah, and it's ignorance. And because we no longer seek to be master of our own destiny. How is it that we could produce the kind of people that we produce out of the old black system, and now we can't? For example, you look at my high school football team: Reginald Francis Lewis, Beatrice Foods, right? The museum is named after him. Yes, we didn't have all the resources that the white schools had, but we had great teachers, and we had discipline. We had a black system, shall we say, a system that protected us. My parents protect me from police because we were disciplined, and we knew that if we stepped outside of certain bounds, certain things would happen, and our community would be powerless to deal with those things. And so we were disciplined. We respected our elders, and age had its merit. That's an old African thing. Age had its merit. We no longer respect age in our community. We don't respect our elders. Elders were people of great importance within our community, and everyone looked to the elders. Things have changed. We're no longer black people, that we once were. We are a diffuse culture at this particular point.
And then, Dave, I really
no identity.
I want to ask Azalinka, because I don't want her to. And I know where you are, Zelinka, but what can we do to get that respect back? I mean, we
can do, what? I'm glad you asked that, because I'm sitting here and I'm listening to the pastor, the doctor, the professor.
Well, he's all of that. He's an icon.
He's all of that. I already know he is, because I'm listening to him. And at some point, I tend to shake my head. And I'm going to tell you why I tend to shake my head. Because we, as elders, as baby boomers, we have to do what I do every single day on the streets of our city. We have to go back to basics. And it's not so, I hate to use the word ignorant. I love to say they're just naive. We have to show them. We have to lead by example. And the more and more we begin, we, I'm talking about me. I'm talking about you. I'm talking about Chief O. The more we come out of our box and go into the field, into our communities, and begin to lead by example, begin to stop a brother on the street and say good morning. And brother, you an entrepreneur by spirit, by gifts, but you just selling the wrong product. I got some things I want to show you how to do with that talent that you possess. Okay, we have to look at our nieces, our nephews. We have to say, no more. I bear some of the responsibility. We need to be back showing our children, teaching our children,
grown children,
what discipline is all about. So, it's something interesting you said, Chief O, a few minutes ago, when you said the Democrats are already running their people. Well, guess what? The Democrats never stop running their people. Okay, their people are always in their community, like I am. I'm in my community every single day doing something productive, working with somebody. Not a day goes past where I'm not working with someone. So I'm even meeting with Senator Barbara Robinson,
Hey,
the former senator,
hey, Bob.
on having lunch with her. Why? Because there's legislation that needs to be drawn up, and she was a master at her craft. So
Hey,
why wouldn't I want to wouldn't I want to work with the best of the best?
hey,
And
Bob.
to me, it matters not
Yeah,
what party they
yeah,
belong to.
yeah,
Until we as Black people get back out into our communities and even starting in our own homes, within our own families, to teach, to groom, to teach the discipline of being able to have the talent, to spot the talent in a younger person, and then being able to pull that talent to the surface and help that young person to
yeah.
grow in their talent and to use it on a daily basis. We will continue to be naive because we cannot use any more excuses about why our culture or why people, period, have been left behind. It's due to our lack of discipline ourselves to be out there educating. We don't need to just educate in the school. After all, education starts from the woman. Education starts from the home. Education starts from the father. Education starts from the big brother, the preachers, the teachers. Education comes from a lot of different angles. Which one of us are we willing to put that hat back on to educate?
I am so worried about what we do in our community. Brother Davis said it does not produce. It's sort of like we're planting the wrong seed. Is it our fault that we planted the wrong seed? Or did somebody take the seed away from us and planted and watered it with some other kind of materials that causes the seed not to grow in our best interest? I'm worried about the respect for elders. How do we bring this back? What do we do?
Let me chime in here. So one of our problems was that we never understood the impact that would come about once integration took place. Here's what we did. We took our future, which is our children, and we put our future, our children, in the hands of our enemies. People who hated us, people who thought we were inferior, and people who treated us like we were inferior. We put our children in their hands.
Yeah.
And once we were dead in the water. Okay.
Yeah.
And we have never understood what transpired there. Let me give you an example.
Go ahead.
Carter G. Woodson. And, we have teachers in our school who deal with Black history every year, and they have no idea who Carter G. Woodson is. The father of Black history, the founder of Negro History Week. In his book, Miseducation of the Negro, this is what he said.
Yeah.
He said, if you can control a man's thinking, you do not have to worry about his action.
That's right.
When you determine what a man shall think, you do not have to concern yourself about what he will do. Right. If you make a man feel he is inferior, you do not have to compel him to accept an inferior status, for he will seek it himself. Right. If you make a man think that he is unjustly or justly an outcast, you do not have to order him to the back door. He will go without being told. And if there is no back door, his very nature will demand one. That's where we are. Because we have fully examined
and that
transformation from segregated society to an integrated society. And we never understood the full impact of that, okay? Because we're no longer the Black people of old.
Let me shift.
Yeah, go
Brother
ahead.
David, let me shift you, and Zelenka, let me shift your mind. It is a country called Biafra in Nigeria. I lived there for 17 years, and there is some problems that is going on there now that very much reflects the exact same thing that Brother Davis is talking about here. There's an attempt to keep the country as an integrated country. And of course, one side wants to go into have their own sovereignty, have their own education, because the culture is so different. Yet it is the same thing that's happening there today has been happening here. And the more you keep talking about the impact of integration and the black community, the more it keeps sinking in. That's maybe the way the problem is. The Indians are way over there in Idaho or wherever they are. And they got their own little thing going on. We still have our own children in the hands of the enemy. And you keep talking about it, you keep bringing that point up, and I think that that's a very strong point. I want people to make sure that if they want to call in, call 667-298-3433 or email us. Call us and ask Brother
I
David.
want to. Can I say something?
The link
You touched upon something just now. Let me say something real quickly. But this is another thing when we talk about policy, when we talk about the ideology of different parties, different mindsets, and I'm still hearing that now a lot of people, quite a few people, because this doctor is not the first person or you that I've heard in Baltimore City talk about why we should not have been desegregated. Okay. But let me say something. That's 70 years of history, 70 years ago, where a lot of our forefathers fought for that, laid down their life for that, died for it, worked toward it, and they were aggressive enough where they built their own schools. They had their own educational system. Blacks were more involved. We went through some decades back in the 80s and the 90s. Understand, when even Clinton's administration began to separate us even further, not by just color, but by culture. Okay. And all of a sudden, if we want to talk about a destruction, all of a sudden it's the African American. Everybody's not African American. Some people, even though life started in Africa, in the Middle East. So we can talk about history. We can keep talking about what we're not doing. But see, guess what? At some point, we have to stop talking about it. We have to actually know and identify solutions and be in our own homes and in communities and begin to retrain our young people, because if not, there will be this generation and another generation
Well,
moving
Zelink,
very naive
if we stop
and
talking about
uneducated and that will be brainwashed to believe that it's all just simply about culture when it's really all about your relationship with God, and you finding your talent, you finding your gifts, and have a thirst for education, have a thirst for learning, and learn how to learn. And until we begin to teach our children that all that they speak,
hold on a second.
we will still have these same problems.
But Zelenka, hold on a second. What are we learning? I mean, if you put your hands in your life, your child, or any brother or sister in the hands of some people that are not that interested really in our growth, in our education, what are they instilling in us? Because they're taking away so much from our.
But we have control. We have control. You know, my mother used to say, you know, some things you need to let go in one ear, out the other. So until you even teach your children how to be able to decipher, using common sense and using what we have grounded in them to siphon and weed out the bad information or weed out the just the propaganda and the brainwashing and the talk of division, the talk of oh, you are bounded because
But
there's
Zelenka, is that
thing as white
division?
privilege,
Well,
there's a such thing as racism, there's a
yeah,
such thing,
yeah.
teach
But
our children that there's such a thing as power within, power within. It's all. It does stop looking at so much the
ask you a
color of
question, Zelenka.
people's skin.
Let me ask.
Stop looking at the races. I have young people that come to me
Okay,
every
wait a
single
second,
day.
Zelenka. Hold on.
These are millennials. These are millennials.
Hello,
Y'all people
Zelenka.
want to talk about it, but I'm
Hello,
telling you what these young people
hello.
are actually telling me.
Mayor,
They want
hold on.
to see us do and work with them. They don't want to see us keep talking about it. They
Zelenka,
don't want to see us.
hold on.
They want to see us working with them. A young man.
Hold on, Zelenka. Hold on. Hold on. Hey, boy, you're running. You're running. Hold on a second. Why do the Jews take care of themselves in their own school, in their own community? Why do the Spanish take care of themselves in their own schools, in their own community? What is wrong with black people taking care of themselves, ourselves, in our own school, in our own community?
Well, let me chime in on that a minute, Chief. Look, there's nothing wrong with integration. What I keep saying is that we did not understand the impact of integration and how it would change us. So we never made adjustments or we never adapted to the new system. Jews never had that problem because they always had their culture, their religion, and they remained who they were.
Right.
Black people, we changed, and we don't even know how and why we changed, because we never looked at that, because we always strive to be part of something that never wanted us. Okay, we are black people. We need to recognize that we're different than they are.
Right. Zelenka stopped the car. Now she can talk a little bit because she was on the race there. She was going on. I'm glad you stopped, because it's a critical issue.
Someone trying to get in, Chief.
I know. Well, just there's a critical part. First of all, you said let's not talk about it anymore. Then I wouldn't have a show if we don't talk about it. So we gotta keep talking about it so we can get some people to listen, and maybe if we can get 10% or 100,000 to listen to us, we'll be in good shape. Don't forget, everybody, we got about 15 more minutes to go. Call in 667-298-3433 or email. So call Brother Davis, call Zelenka. You can get them on the Let's Talk About It show and ask the questions. And we're going to, I know this is taking a little time because this is the first time. It'd be nice if you can say like our show, press that little button, like it, share it. Share. I've been getting a lot of share comments on Let's Talk About It. Let's talk about it. Please do. We want 100,000 viewers. So if you heard this morning segment, share it. Send it out. Let everybody else hear, or go to Let's Talk About It on YouTube, and there it is. Hear this message and share it. Like it and share it. Thank you so much. We were getting a little hot there. I almost had to take my time.
But all this is good, because one of the things the sister mentioned was we got to get back to religion and our faith. Where did we learn to read? Where did we learn to write? We learn to read and write in Sunday school. That's where we learn to read and write. Yeah. And I will never forget that. And that also provided a foundation for life for us. It was always, that church was there. And, I loved church. I loved it when I was a kid. Everybody went to Sunday. How many kids go to Sunday school today? You know, that's a change. See, we relied upon our own community to develop education within our children. Now we looking for somebody else to do something for us when we should be doing that for ourselves. We must educate our own and develop our children ourselves.
Churches connect to schools so that they can stay within that nonprofit link, and then they created a school, and you know that was good for us. You know what happened? Somebody came and just dismantled everything, and when we did this,
what we had in those days was good, because what it did, it strengthened us and built up in us the desire and the capacity to take on America, the strongest nation on the face of the earth, and break down all the barriers. So something had to be good about our community at that time, but what was good about our community at that time somehow got lost in transformation, and that's basically what I'm saying. And we never understood what we were losing. We lost.
Brother Davis, I want to ask you the topic of this today's broadcast is the enemy for Black people within?
I think the enemy is within. It's always that way. Whenever you want to know where your problem is, go look in the mirror. I always tell people that, okay? Because you must be the master of your own destiny.
Right.
The one who give up your destiny to someone else. Because when we sit around and blame white folks for everything, racism, that means somebody else is our master. And I refuse to accept anyone else as our master. I am master of myself. And I am master of my own destiny. And we've got to get back to that. Okay? Because once upon a time, that's where we were.
What Zelenka was talking about at one point was about Black businesses not supporting each other. And Black businesses need to do that more. There's a bunch of brothers out here now that is hot, doing car washing, doing vegetable sales, right there on Route 40. You can see him selling watermelons and selling all sorts of. It's a Black business, and we need to see somehow. People need to stop and support them, one way or another.
We lost all of that. Remember, we had all the Black stores, Avalon shoe store. I think the brother right now, I think he's about 110 years old now. But every time I see him, I think about he had Avalon shoe store. That's what we used to buy shoes. We had the Arabs, you know, who were independent businessmen. They would go down, get the fruits and the vegetables and stuff, and then they go through our community singing, "Hey, watermelon, red to the rhyme," and all that kind of stuff, man. Look, they made that money. They were businessmen, and they would not work for no white folks.
Yeah, those riding around with a horse. He's got a horse and a trailer, and he's got all kinds of fruit on that. And you know, people should really stop off and buy his fruit. Why go to any place else? They're not stopping to buy his food, so we have to do it. You know,
when I needed a suit for graduation, I needed a suit for graduation, right?
Yeah,
I get the brother Carver at Carver Book High School, tailoring class, size me up and make me a suit.
Yeah, Zelenka, I see.
We had all kinds of talents within our community, but somehow we have never respected those awesome talents that once existed in our community. We sit around here and we have no idea that one of the first automakers in this country was Black. You know, but he couldn't get the financing to keep it going. But we were the brains of this country. You hear me? We were the brains. We built this country, and somehow we have forgotten that it would not be a democracy without us. We made it a democracy. I don't care where you look in this country, even when you look at the movies like Hidden Figures, you know, about the sisters that were mathematicians and all, you know, and putting right. Look, my math teacher in high school school, Dr. Russell used to go over to Goddard Space at night and do them calculations because he was a genius. We had all those geniuses teaching us, but he couldn't get no job over there. Okay. But it did not stop our people. The fact that somebody put their foot on us did not stop us. We overcame all of that. And
That's exactly what Zelenka is saying. That's what Zelenka is saying. And I see that she is getting all prepared to make her move. Zelenka was yeah, she great thing on her face. We getting ready to. We got another 9 minutes, so Brother Davis and I can.
I'm gonna let her go.
If you if you have to go, Zelenka, we understand that. But
go ahead, let her get her words in first before she go.
Go ahead.
And my sister.
Go ahead, my Zelenka. You have the floor to say what you would like to say before you leave.
So, Pastor, can I ask you a question?
Yes, ask a question.
I would like to know, because you have so much experience, I'm hearing your wisdom. What would you suggest that Baltimoreans do in terms of education, in terms of working with our Board of Education? Because that's a hot topic right now. What would you tell parents that children may not be going to school the way they should be going to school? What do you think we should bring back to our school system to make sure our children, especially in our most deprived areas of the city, is getting a good education?
I wish I could hear.
I didn't quite get all of that, Salika. I didn't get it all. But let me say this, and I'm pointing out some problems that we have to overcome, but we can't overcome our problems unless we face up to those particular problems. If you look at, our birth rate out there, close to 70% of our children born out of wedlock. A significant number of them are born to teenagers who are not, to raise children or what have you, because it's babies raising babies. And then when you look at where are their parents, we worked in the inner city schools because, Black Vets had a program called Save the Children, Save the Nation. Hey, look, in one school we were at, man, over 70% of the kids did not have a parent or parent in the household. They were living with their grandparents because their parents were either on drugs or they were in jail. And this is what's happening in the what I call the hardcore ghetto, where the drugs are prevalent. And so we need to face up to those problems and then discuss how are we going to overcome these problems, because we can't run from this problem now. It's going to be right here. So let's dig on in. These are our children. The children belong to all of us. And somewhere along the line, we're going to have to, stop for a minute and think about how are we going to help these kids overcome the predicament that they're in. Now, one of the problems that we also found was that a lot of those kids had been born drug babies. They had been born addicted to drugs. And so they had problems adjusting anyway. But that doesn't matter. They're still our children. So how do we deal with young kids who are hyperactive or what have you, who were born addicted to drugs? Now, we can't just sit up and say, look at them. No, they're our kids. So how do we deal with them? See, sometimes if we don't see these problems, we can't deal with them. And I'm saying that no matter what problem we have, it is our responsibility. It's not the responsibility of white folks or anybody else. It is our responsibility.
Tiger, you did say it. You said it, and you've answered the same question that Zelenka is really pushing hard on education in urban in our cities. She's pushing hard on that, and she's been very steadfast in pushing that issue. But how do we solve that? Children born out of drug parents. I think that what we're going to do by next Thursday, we're going to have to find some psychiatrist or a social worker. I've been really pushing hard to find will come on, let's talk about it and give us a synopsis. So, and I'm talking about a professional in the field of corrective measures, if you will, because that's what we need to hear is how do we correct it? Because it's reached a certain level that we're just in, like the Marvin Gaye, throwing our hands up. We don't know what exactly to do.
Chief, I would definitely love to get Dr.
David
on for that next Thursday. Because he's getting ready to do a summit on the 24th that my grassroots subcommittee is going to be a part of. And it's on Trump. It's on coming on and being able to go into the schools, talk to parents, work with children that have those type of mental issues, whether it's ADD, whether it's attention deficit disorder, whether it's bipolar, whether they've been exposed to lead and there's some effect on learning abilities. I think that's important because I think if we begin to address even how we educate and even whether we should be separating just public school children with no disabilities and making sure that there are programs and there are charter schools that actually where they have experts that can help educate even our children that have a learning disadvantage. Because let me tell you something, and I'm going to share this story with you to start that off, if you don't mind, Chief, next week, because it's a personal story, it's a real story, and it's a story that I've told that have helped so many people understand why it's important for parents to be a part of being able to identify symptoms and being able to identify when there's a problem with a child, even if they're in the pre-kindergarten or first grade. Because the earlier you identify, like I do, the better and the better off that child would be. The better off that child will be getting the help that they need, and not so much drugging them, but actually being able to create situations, opportunities, programs where you can keep that child busy. You can hold that child's attention. You can tap into that child's creative play. My daughter's a marine biologist, but she has a story. And so we can share that. Hopefully you let me share that next week.
Well, I hope people can call in. Call in. At that number, 667-298-3433. Ask those questions. Zelenka, by the grace of God, will be here. And we need to get more people to come on and ask a question. We've got about 2 more minutes. If my producer can play one more time, that pastor and what he said about the enemy within, that would be a good way to end this show. Because
if you look at our own systems and structures in our country, we don't have a better system to improve the lives of people. Pastor, I was surprised when I read in China, they had a 10-year vision, and they said from 2011, their vision was that in 10 years from 2011, and 10 years from 2011 will be what year? This year, 2021, that they will raise over 20% of the people to become multi-millionaires. Now in 2021, they have 1.8 million Chinese who are multi-millionaires in China, and they are between the age of 40 to 50 years. Multi-millionaires. The government intentionally decided that they would make sure they will have 20% of the population multi-millionaires. They also agreed that they will make sure that they will lift up the poorest of the poor, and they lifted 100 million people from begging to live a better life. But in this country, in our country, we fight our own businessmen. Our government will fight our business people. When they know that your business is thriving, and they know that perhaps you are not sympathetic towards the running party or the ruling party, they will fight you collapse your company and make you poor. When in China, they want to make the people rich. In Africa, we want to make our own people poor. The enemy is not outside. The enemy is within.
And that was a very powerful statement. The enemy is within. Even here in Baltimore, in Chicago, in Atlanta, everywhere where black people are, the enemy is within. God bless you, Brother Davis. Zelenka, she had to go, but I thank you so much. You look good from vacation. I think you went to see, you explained to me later on, but you look good. We welcome you back. I thank you so much for. Are you serious? Are you not? Is this Eartha?
Yeah.
Good morning.
Yeah,
Eartha. How are you?
hey,
I've been doing fine. I was on. You just didn't let me back in the back, but I've been here for a minute.
Oh, you been there for a minute?
Yep, I was here for a minute. That's why Ezekiel was trying to let you know he's backstage, but that's good.
Well,
But I remember to come on another time. But
no,
only thing
no. I think our producer can let us have another 2, 3. Give me. The topic is the enemy within.
right. So I wanted to say that it's the enemy within, and then you should have a slash, and also within us is the solution. So both of them. So now that we know, it's just like, when you wake up and you're trying to fight the fact that you're trying to stay healthy, but you want to eat the cookie. So you got to have the balance. You got to eat the cookie, but you go run and do some exercise. So we're going to do both. We got the enemy within. Just yesterday, we went to the courthouse in Towson, right? Because the lawyer, J. Wendell Gordon, is fighting the city for Karina Gaines won a lawsuit. She won a lawsuit. She had a jury trial. The jury found her to be able to yes. But look, check out the enemy. But the enemy say, yeah, we wrote that rule and that's how you spoke, but we're going to change it. And the judge overturned that decision of a jury. So what we did, we decided that we're going to come with a solution. And the solution is to show up, show out. The solution is to keep your eyes on the people who do that and get them out of office. That's what Davis is talking about. You got to pay attention how everything we do have some type of politics involved. So we have to be able to start right now mobilizing and organizing ourselves and keeping an eye on the politicians and the political people that do nothing or the ones that do interfere and do something like that. Why isn't this young lady getting her money? And then another one I wanted to talk about is like when you was talking about the churches and the schools. We have to identify the churches that do cheat. We have to identify the business that's out there. We have to do more telling people, the people who's out there that are doing these things, that teaching our kids, that, a lot of churches weren't able to sustain educations in their institutions because we won't pay. You can find ways to still money redirected out of some other institution to an institution that you want your child to be educated. So we may have to look more into looking at people who are doing the things that we need. Baby, stop.
I'm hearing you, Eartha. And I
can you
I can fine.
Okay, and then one other thing, guys, we just opened up a community store, right? And the store that we opened up is on North Avenue in Payson. One of the things that we could do using technology, we have it where people just have a shelf in our store, right? So you can come in and learn about that product, and we don't have to keep all of those products in our store, and people just pick up the tablet and they order from the store. So that'll give us another way of supporting Black businesses.
Okay,
so
now listen. I'm gonna make you a promise. I like what you just added to the enemy within, and so is the solution. I like that so much that I promise I'm going to call you. I'm going to personally wake you up next Thursday.
That's right.
Or I'm going to, no, better yet, I'm going to ask the commander, our icon, Brother Davis to call you. Now I know you'll wake up there.
Yes, because you know when you're trying to solve solutions, it seems like somehow you got to stay up night and day. Ain't enough time on it. By the time I get in the house, that's when I really start working on my stuff. So again, just wait.
I apologize. I'm very happy to have you. Thank you very much to the producer for giving us extra time, and I think it was worth the extra time to wait for you. Brother Davis has been very iconic as he is. Zelenka was on the point again, so we're so happy you came in, even though in the last minute, but there's no such thing.
Don't worry, I'm still be here. Like you said, I'll still be around. Just let me know. We'll fix it.
When you have good things to say about this Black community and the solution. So I welcome you, and I'm so sorry. And let anybody that have any kind of, make sure to like and spread this word. Spread it.
Yes.
You know, we need to spread it. 100,000 viewers. That's what we're reaching for. So thank you all for being here. God bless you. Stay saturated. Drink your water. Keep the kids out of the heat. Brother Davis, you know we old, so we stay saturated. So God bless you. My producer, extra time.
Okay, thank you.
God bless you. Thank you.